I've got 5 simple steps that will change your perspective on happiness forever. They definitely helped me during my hard times. Stick around because number 4 is a game changer. But before we get into the steps, let me tell you my backstory. For the past 2 years, I had a very hard time enjoying life. This was because of a combination of life circumstances. My work situation changed. The company I was working with decided to let go of many employees, and this made it much harder for me to concentrate on work. My mother had a bunch of health complications, and to top it all off, my cat, my only ray of light in the world, passed away. These and other life circumstances left me in a state of deep apathy. I felt like my life was being sucked out of me, and I was just a shell of the person I once was. After work, I would come home and just sit on the couch. I didn't even have energy to play video games. I was also not looking forward to holidays, and at that time the only thing that kept me going was the occasional climbing trip with my friends. After that, I decided to reread Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, a book about the science of happiness. This reminded me of all the things I had forgotten in the past 2 years. It changed my life, again. And today I want to share a 5-step guide to getting your life back together based on the book. But before we get started, I want to talk about flow. What is a flow state? It's when your mind is so focused on what you're doing that you lose the sense of time. And now that we clarify this, let's go back into the steps. Step 1 is to find activities you enjoy for their own sake. The book calls them autotelic activities, and these are things you do just because you enjoy doing them, not because of any outside reward. These activities can be either sports, arts, or even work. The key here is to choose activities that make you feel good while you're doing them. And don't just choose anything. Be on the lookout for the things you resonate with. For me, I started concentrating on rock climbing. In the summer, I went everywhere around the UK with my friends in search of good climbs. When I'm climbing, I feel like I'm leaving all my worries behind, and I've experienced deep states of flow doing it. For example, when I got to the top of the tall cliffs of Swanage, I felt like crying because I knew how scared I was all the way up there and how tired I was from the climb. At the moment, I felt like nothing else mattered but what I was doing right there and then, and all my worries were somewhere far, far away. Step 2 is to set clear goals in the activities that you like practicing. Goals set a direction from where you are to where you want to be. But the trick here is to always have the goal at the back of your mind and still concentrate on the moment-to-moment activities. A trick I learned here is to break the goal into individual actions and do them one at a time. Back to my climbing story. Because of my fear of heights, my goal for the summer was to do a very tall climb while being completely calm. And I thought that would be impossible because I would always panic on the wall. But I thought I'd give it a shot. Step 3 is to cut distractions. Phones, computers, and the TV are all chipping away at our time. The average attention span is only 8 seconds. And the sad truth is, not being able to concentrate prevents us from being happy. When we wake up, our first instinct is to pick up our phone and start doom scrolling. But as the great Steve Jobs said, your life is limited. Do not waste it living someone else's life. I know this is hard, but what I found out is by adding friction to the activity will help us fight the urge to do it. I'm not very good at this myself. I am doom scrolling all the time on my phone. But what I found out, at night, if I leave my phone far away from me when I'm sleeping, I will not do that. Because in order to do that, I will need to get out of the bed and pick up my phone and come back into bed, which is quite annoying. So I found that I stopped doing that at night at least, just by doing this. Step 4 is to find the right balance between challenge and skill. And I can explain it better with this graph. This is the same as working out. The muscles need exercise to grow. But if we choose an activity that's too hard for us, this would just create anxiety because we don't yet have the skill to complete it. For example, if I were to go to the gym now and try to bench let's say 100 kg, I would just hurt myself. I'm not strong enough to do that. At the same time, we don't want to choose an activity that's too easy, because that will just be boring. Back to the gym example, this is as if I'm going to the gym and just benching without any weights. My muscles will not grow. And the key here is to find an activity within this flow channel. So for example, if my skill level is here and I choose an activity of this difficulty, I would complete it and my skill would grow. After that, if I choose, let's say, an activity of this difficulty, I would once again complete it and my skill will grow. Rinse and repeat. I've done this with climbing. Every climbing session, I'm trying to find a climb that's tall enough to scare me, but I know it's within my climbing capabilities. And even though I know it's tall and I know I'll be very scared on it, I'm still going to do it because I know it's within my climbing capabilities. So I've done this for many months now, and with every session, I feel much more comfortable with the altitude and exposure and the overall fear of heights. Step 5 is to develop complexity. And this is a natural follow-up to step 4. The more you practice an activity, the harder and more complex it should get. More than that, at this point you need to set harder and harder goals for yourself. For example, if we come back to the graph from step 4, let's say you set a goal, you did a lot of flow activities, and you actually managed to reach it. At this point, you need to set an even harder goal and continue doing flow activities to achieve it. After that, set an even harder goal and do that. Rinse and repeat. And now to finish my climbing story. 2 weeks ago, I went back to Swanage with my climbing friend to climb this 40-meter tall wall. And it wasn't without hiccups. At 30 meters, I realized there was no protection until the end of the climb. That meant if I took a fall from the top of the climb, I would have fallen 20 meters. That thought terrified me at the moment. But for some reason, during the climb, I was just completely calm, as if nothing can go wrong. And when I got to the top of the climb, I realized what I've done. It was a scary climb, and I was completely calm and peaceful, and I got myself in a hard situation and managed to get out of it. For my next goal, I want to climb this 80-meter tall wall in Wales, a climb called A Dream of White Horses. And I know if I continue doing the steps and I continue practicing flow, I will climb it one day. Thanks for tuning in today. If you're interested in the book and want to read it, please check the pinned comment down below. I would recommend reading it because this book changed my life twice. Also, if you have stories about how this book changed your life, please leave them in the comment section down below as I read all the comments. If you like this video and want to see more, please check other videos on my channel. Note this is a new channel, I'm going to upload quite frequently. But until next time, have a good one!